Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money G. It's time to review another horror movie. It's time to review the Irish horror film, You Are Not My Mother. Now, You Are Not My Mother is a 2021 Irish psychological horror film that was written and directed by Kate Dolan. Now, the film stars Hazel Dope, Carolyn Bracken, Paul Reed, Ingrid, I think her name is Cherry, and Jordan Jones. Now, in this film, set in a North Dublin housing estate, Char's mother goes missing. When she returns, Char is determined to uncover the truth of her disappearance and unearth the dark secrets of her family. Now, I don't know about you horror fans, but there's been an uptick in Irish horror films recently, showing American horror films that we can have some excellent horror films from Ireland other than a certain leprechaun. Irish horror films such as The Hollow, The Devil's Woods, and The Hole in the Ground, the American audience have been introduced to Irish folklore and some excellent psychological horror films from some talented Irish filmmakers. I'm pretty sure that would make my good friend Marty from the Trash Picture Show very happy. Some very good Irish horror films, and they've done pretty good in introducing us to certain aspects of Irish culture, such as some of the folklore that comes from Ireland. I'm pretty sure they have other mythological creatures other than leprechauns. So Irish film director and writer Kate Dolan brings us her entry into the subgenre horror, simply called You Are Not My Mother. Now, as I stated earlier, this is set in a North Dublin housing estate. We're introduced to Charlotte, called Char. She is a smart but bully teenager who lives with her bipolar mother, Angela, and her grandmother, Rita. Now, after dropping off Char from school, Rita disappears, and when she returns, everything seems normal. At first. However, as the film progresses, Rita's behavior begins to starts to deteriorate to the point that she seems that she wants to do harm to Char, and Char begins to realize that this might not be her real mother. Hence, You Are Not My Mother. Now, one of the things I really liked about this film is how Kate makes this film look. It's very dark and sad and joyless. There's no real joy here as we see how Char, being a very bright and smart teenager, she's very unhappy. I mean, she really has no real friends, and she's bullied by the other kids in the school. Now, throughout the film, we can see that she wants to have a good relationship with her mother despite her mental illness, and Kate does a good job in displaying that. There are certain scenes where we see Char is kind of hesitant at first, but she really does want to have a great relationship with her mother. Another aspect of the film that I like is there's a great bonding scene that Char has with Suzanne, one of the girls that bullies her in the beginning of the film, but as they share a common bond, especially when it comes to their mother. So they start to bond between that one. And I like how Char and Suzanne all of a sudden start to become good friends. Now, one good thing I like about Kate, she doesn't rely on the typical horror tropes as she creates great tension and suspense just on the incredible acting and from her creative spread. This is a very good script, very fast paced too. This film only runs about an hour and a half, and even though she doesn't rely on the typical horror tropes, the film quickly goes about doing his stuff, mainly because of the great acting and the great script that Kate has done here. Now, we know that there's something wrong with Rita, but Kate keeps the audience in the dark. We really don't know if there's something supernatural going on with Rita, or is it just her mind falling apart. There's a great transition scene in between as we see Rita in the beginning, and when she returns, we know that there's something wrong in there. There's a certain scene that might trip some people out, I would say right around during the second act of the film. And then, of course, we get another scene where we don't know whether or not it's something supernatural going on with Rita or the fact that she's mentally falling apart. Now, of course, we do get a small exposition by the beginning of the third act of the film. And, of course, we kind of realize what's really happening here. But we're really hooked into the story mainly because of the characters. And, again, that's because of the acting and the excellent script Kate Dolan has written here. Hazel Dope, I think that's how you're pronouncing her name, is excellent as a shine field for Char. She gives the character the right amount of emotion and of a teenage girl who wants an excellent relationship with her mother. She's kind of unhappy because she doesn't have a great relationship with her mother. She's sad because she doesn't really have real friends. Like I said, I love the bonding moment that they have between her and Suzanne. Finally she begins to open up with another girl because they share similar experiences of their mothers. Now, you also have to give credit to Carolyn Brecken, who does a good job in displaying a woman who's suffering from mental illness, but could be also displaying the characteristics of something supernatural as well. We really don't know if it's supernatural or the fact that it could be something else going on, obviously, until we get to the third act of the film when we get this small exposition about what's really happening here. And as I stated before, Kate doesn't go for typical horror tropes, and she basically uses dark and dreary setting, focusing more on character development. Obviously, bullying is concerned and mental illness. That's what Kate goes for, which is something totally different as we supposed to see. If this were more of an American horror movie, we'd probably see more supernatural effects and typical cliche characters. But Kate decides to focus more on character development, focusing more on Char's family lifestyle, her relationship between her grandmother and her uncle that's in this film, and of course her relationship with her mother. That's what she's most focusing on, and I think that's what makes it such a good horror film. Because, like I said, it's very dark, it's very eerie, and of course the great music that she puts in here helps really set the tone for the film. So, along with some excellent acting from Hazel and Carolyn, and again, the excellent soundtrack, Kate has created a very dark and eerie psychological horror film. And I'm pretty sure this is not going to make all horror films happy, but I enjoyed it, and I believe most of you guys will enjoy this as well, too. So, I'm going to give You Are Not My Mother 3 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Giving it 3 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Yeah, I really did like this film. Like I said, it's not your typical horror film. Like I said, it plays more on the psychological side. We really don't get any like the typical supernatural stuff that we see in films like this. It's well paced, great acting, and of course the soundtrack that she uses here is great. It sets the tone, and of course we have great acting as well. So I think you guys really like it. So there you have it. That is my review and video of You Are Not My Mother. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you do, please give it a like, thumbs up, and share, because it does help out with the YouTube algorithm. If you have seen You Are Not My Mother, leave your comments in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about the film. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put up new videos such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules. Oh, by the way, hope you guys will check out the Horror Addicts, as is now it's that time again. It is time for the scares. So please check out the Horror Addicts, my good friends Gory and Dan. It's gonna be a scare. And always remember that horror rule. I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.